What if the biggest thing shaping your life right now is something you did this morning without even noticing? Not a decision, not a goal, not even an action, a question. Right now, inside your mind, a quiet process is happening all the time. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, every opportunity you notice or fail to notice is being filtered by a system in your brain that responds to one thing above all else: the questions you ask yourself. Most people never realize this. They believe their life is shaped by external circumstances. They think their success or failure depends on luck, connections, talent, or timing. And of course, those things matter to some extent, but there is a deeper force constantly influencing how you experience the world. Your mind is always searching for answers, and the questions you ask determine what your mind searches for. To understand this, imagine something simple. Imagine that your brain is like a search engine. Every day, without realizing it, you are typing questions into the search bar of your mind. Sometimes those questions are intentional, but most of the time they happen automatically, quietly in the background of your thoughts. You wake up in the morning and a thought appears. Why am I always tired? Or maybe, why is my life so stressful? Or perhaps, why do things never work out for me? The moment that question appears, your brain begins doing exactly what it was designed to do. It starts searching for answers. Not the truth, answers, evidence, proof. Proof that you are tired, proof that your life is stressful, proof that things don't work out. Your brain begins scanning your environment, your memories, your conversations, your experiences, looking for anything that confirms the question you asked. And the more evidence it finds, the more real that belief begins to feel. But here is something most people never stop to consider. Your brain does not evaluate whether the question you asked is helpful or harmful. It simply responds to it. In other words, the moment you ask a question, you are giving your brain a mission, and your brain will work tirelessly to complete that mission. This means that the quality of the questions you ask yourself every day has an enormous influence on the direction of your life. Because questions direct attention, and attention shapes reality. Think about how often people unknowingly ask themselves questions that weaken them. Why am I not good enough? Why do other people have better opportunities than me? Why does everything feel so difficult? When those questions repeat long enough, they begin to feel like facts, not thoughts, not interpretations, facts. But the truth is that those facts were constructed by the search process your mind performed after you asked the question. Your brain became like a detective trying to prove a case you didn't even realize you had opened. Now imagine something different. Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning and instead of asking, "Why is my life so hard?" you ask a different question. What is one thing I can do today that would move my life forward? Suddenly, your brain receives a completely different instruction. Now, instead of searching for problems, it begins searching for possibilities. Your mind starts noticing ideas, conversations, resources, and opportunities that might have been invisible before. The world outside has not changed, but the filter inside has. And once the filter changes, your perception changes. Once perception changes, your behavior changes. And once behavior changes, your results eventually begin to change as well. This is not motivational fantasy, it's simply how the brain works. Every second, your senses collect an overwhelming amount of information from the environment around you. Millions of pieces of data, sounds, images, movements, words, expressions. But your conscious mind can only process a tiny fraction of it. So your brain uses a filtering system to decide what deserves your attention and what should be ignored. And one of the main signals that determines what gets through that filter is the questions you ask. If you ask your brain to find problems, it will find problems. If you ask your brain to find opportunities, it will start looking for opportunities. The world has always contained both. Your questions determine which one you see. But there is an even deeper layer to this, because the most powerful questions are not about what you have, they are about who you believe you are. Most people spend years asking questions about outcomes. How can I make more money? How can I get that job? How can I achieve that goal? Those questions are not wrong, but they are surface-level questions. The deeper questions are about identity. Who do I need to become in order to create the life I want? What habits would that version of me practice every day? How would that version of me think when facing a problem? How would that version of me treat other people? How would that version of me spend time, energy, and attention? These questions change everything. Because here is a truth about human behavior that many people discover too late. You do not act according to your goals. You act according to your identity. If someone believes they are disciplined, they behave in disciplined ways. If someone believes they are unlucky, they interpret events through that lens. If someone believes they are capable, they approach challenges differently. Your identity quietly guides thousands of decisions every day, and the questions you ask reinforce that identity. Imagine someone who constantly asks themselves questions like, "Why am I so bad at this? Why do I always mess things up? What's wrong with me?" Over time, those questions begin shaping a mental identity of inadequacy. And once that identity takes root, it influences behavior in subtle ways. The person hesitates before opportunities. They doubt their ability to succeed. They interpret neutral events as confirmation that something is wrong with them. But imagine someone asking different questions. What can I learn from this? What skill would help me improve here? What would the next version of me do in this situation? Now the brain is searching for growth. It begins identifying lessons instead of failures, possibilities instead of limitations, and slowly the person's identity begins to shift. Not dramatically, not overnight, but steadily, like a compass slowly adjusting its direction. This is why learning to ask better questions can quietly transform the trajectory of your life. But there is another aspect of questions that is even more powerful. Questions influence emotion. Consider how different your emotional state becomes depending on the question you ask. If you ask yourself, "Why does nothing ever work out for me?" your mind immediately begins generating negative explanations. You feel discouraged, hopeless, defeated. But if you ask yourself, "What small step could improve this situation?" the emotional tone changes. The mind begins searching for action, movement, possibility. And those emotional shifts matter more than most people realize. Because emotions drive behavior, and behavior creates outcomes. In other words, the questions you ask are quietly shaping not only your thoughts, but also your feelings, actions, and results. Now here is something practical you can try. A simple mental practice that takes less than 2 minutes a day. In the morning, before you reach for your phone, before the outside world floods your mind with notifications, messages, and noise, pause for a moment and ask yourself 3 questions. The first question is simple. What truly matters today? This question creates focus. And in a world overflowing with distractions, focus has become one of the most valuable forms of power. The second question is deeper. Who do I choose to be today? Not what will I do, but who will I be while doing it? Will I be patient, disciplined, focused, generous? Your identity shapes the energy behind your actions. The same task can be performed with resentment or with purpose, with mediocrity or with excellence. And that difference begins with identity. The third question shifts your perspective outward. What can I contribute today? When people focus only on what they can get from life, their thinking becomes narrow and anxious. But when they ask how they can contribute, something interesting happens. Opportunities appear in unexpected places, relationships become stronger, and the sense of meaning deepens. But the practice does not end there. At night, before you go to sleep, ask yourself 3 more questions. Did I do my best today? Not perfection, just honesty. What did I learn today? Because every single day contains lessons, but only if you look for them. And finally, what am I grateful for today? Gratitude may sound simple, but it trains your brain to notice abundance instead of scarcity. And your brain will always find more of whatever you train it to look for. But there is one final type of question that many people avoid for years, the uncomfortable ones. Questions like,
What am I tolerating that I shouldn't tolerate? What truth am I avoiding? What would change in my life if I were completely honest with myself? These questions are difficult because they challenge the stories we tell ourselves. They reveal areas where we have settled, compromised, or ignored something important. But these uncomfortable questions are often the beginning of transformation. Because real change rarely begins with comfort. It begins with honesty. And honesty begins with a question. So before you finish this video, I want to leave you with one final question. Not for the comments, not for anyone else, just for yourself. If you continued living exactly the way you are living today for the next 10 years, would you be proud of the person you become? If the answer is yes, then keep going. You are already asking powerful questions. But if the answer is no, then maybe the most important change you can make is not in your goals, your plans, or your environment. Maybe the most important change is the questions you ask yourself every day. Because the quality of your life will always be deeply connected to the quality of the questions guiding your mind. And sometimes, changing a single question can quietly change the entire direction of your life.